What's going on, YouTube? This is my first live official broadcast. I'm just going to do my second episode of it's a Sunday shipping vlog, I've been calling it. For those of you new to my channel and people starting to filter in, I am a part-time reseller on eBay. I build my primarily used clothing. I work full-time in the corporate finance world as a finance analyst. Been building my business for quite a few years now, and more seriously the last year. And the purpose really just on Sundays is kind of my day to reflect, and it's a good opportunity for me to show you guys some of the sales of the weekend. And I want to start using it more as a Q&A platform to help a lot of like the same comments and questions on a lot of my videos, and just a good opportunity at the end of the week for me to recap. And hey, how we doing, Jason? And I'll shout out some people as they filter in here. Not sure how many will join on the first one, but I've got plenty of questions and content to keep it moving just in case we don't have many. But really just wanted to design this as a Q&A platform, kind of reflection of the week, and just thought it was a perfect way to kick off because this last week I've had completely off of work. So I've had a lot of thoughts on kind of the reseller game and what it would look like if I was full-time. I flip-flops all day. Yes, you are first. And thank you for the advice on the storage unit. It was definitely instrumental in getting it set up the way that it is. And still got a lot of work to do, but some really good advice. I'm going to wait another minute or two and just see if anyone filters in, and then if not, I will get kicking this off. All right. Well, I'm going to jump in just because it is Sunday and it is Super Bowl day. So those of you who are excited about Super Bowl or football fans, it's the biggest day of the year. I am a New York Giants fan, so don't hold it against me. But I'm a little bitter about seeing the Patriots in there and us not in there. Hi, Philip. How you doing? Quite a bit bitter, actually. I was hoping it'd be a Giants-Patriots rematch, but nonetheless, I'll be rooting for the Falcons, and I hope that the Patriots do not win. So I'll leave it at that. Hi, Cole Rainpicker. Yeah, heading to Super Bowl party. Yeah, what's up? Has everyone got Super Bowl plans? You know, I'm keeping it pretty low key. I start my new job tomorrow, so I feel like I can't be out too late. Gotta get my mind right for it. All right, well, I'm gonna jump in and just go through sales for the weekend. That's kind of want to kick off each Sunday. I just want to show what's been moving for me. Hi, Julian, and kind of what's been working for me. January was a slower month. I didn't pretty much match my December total, but the sales were a lot slower. So I'm expecting February to pick up, and it looks like it already started to. I've been doing about $200 a day since the start of February. So this is some of the stuff that's sold, and a lot of it is in bags, so you guys know the watch is how I keep my inventory. But this is just a Van Heusen. It's a poplin black dress shirt. It's new with tags. I don't normally pick up Van Heusen unless it is new with tags. Hi, Karen. And this sold for $19.99, free shipping. You do offer free shipping and everything, so not a bad flip there. I get all my shirts for $4, and as Jason can attest to, we probably live in the best area of the country for sourcing clothing. It's all fixed prices, and it's pretty reasonable and cheap, so I can't complain about that. We got a Ralph Lauren. This is like a flannel, and again, Ralph Lauren's kind of that bread and butter for me. And this is a flannel. It's like red and navy plaid. It actually has a pony on it, a blue pony. But sold this for $23, free shipping. Took our best offer. And so it's a good flip for me as well. This was I did a haul video the other day. I found my first Keaton of Napoli, I believe it's pronounced. And a shout out for most of my blazer knowledge. I have to shout out to Ronnie over at Hearts Pickers. Never would have known about this brand otherwise. Hey, Aaron, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. But it was in pretty bad shape. It's just a navy blue blazer. I know you can't really see it, but it was in really rough shape. The shoulder seams were all busted up, and there was some kind of like iron marks on it. And I noted all of them and listed it, and it sold within 4 hours of being up. I took a best offer of $65 with the flaws. So it just shows you the power of that brand and how good it is. If it was in great shape, I think I probably would have got $300, $400, $500 for it at least, I'm guessing. This is for those of you NBA fans, it is a Kenyon Martin. It's a New Jersey Nets jersey. I guess it's upside down. So very vintage. I got this at a big jersey lot that I bought probably a couple of months ago or early the fall. Got them all for $12. This went for $38 with free shipping. So I was pretty happy with that. We got Lacoste. This is a brand, if you don't know it, you definitely should know. And this is just a basic polo shirt, cotton, teal, nothing too special. But took a best offer of $19 for it. This one did have flaws on it. It had like 2 or 3 little dots in the back. So selling for $19 with flaws is still pretty cool. Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining. Appreciate everyone being here. Tiffany, the clear poly bags I get on eBay. They're a 12 by 15 flat block poly bag. I actually bought most of my supplies for this whole next year ahead of time, but you can get them in any quantity from like I think 50 all the way up to 1,000 per order. So and they're about 6 or 7 cents a piece. This is Tommy Bahama, and this is actually a linen shirt. Linen, especially with this getting to be spring, heading into summer, linen's a good material to be on the lookout for. And Tommy Bahama is a great brand to have it. It's kind of like a window pane, like stitched pattern. Took the best offer of 22 on this. Had it up for only a couple days, and it went pretty quick. Now here is a brand, and you can see my old system where I highly recommend not putting tape on the clothing. Bad idea. This was one of my very first purchases, and but take the tape off for you guys. It's called Eaton, and it's a Sweden brand. It's actually, you'll say Eaton of Sweden on a lot of the brands. This is an older label, that red label. I actually took a best offer of $24. This has been sitting for a while, and I did have some fading that I notated like around the collar and such. Definitely pick this up anytime you find it. I've sold like the contemporary fit type dress shirts, sell for like $40 to $60 used, and I have 100% sell through with it. This was pretty cool. This is a Hickey Freeman. It's a silk wool blend, and it's like a beige, the beige houndstooth with a window pane pattern. You can see kind of a wide pattern here. This sold best offer of $49.99. I had it up for like $65. It's only been up for maybe a month, and it was a pretty standard size. I think it was a 44 regular. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it's great profit. Blazers are $5 here. It's a pretty awesome deal. You can't really pass them up, and this will fit in a flat rate. So probably $11 all in with shipping. Big B, would you recommend having multiple eBay accounts? I'm not sure. I don't know what to recommend. I don't personally use one. Hi, Ellen. Thanks for joining. I'm not sure if there's an advantage to it. Maybe if you sold a lot of diverse things and it was worth it to niche like electronics with, separate your clothing, maybe. Or if you had a lot of like single SKU or multiple SKU listings where you had a lot of bulk, maybe it was more advantageous. I'm not positive. I'm probably not the right person to ask on that. But I personally don't use one. Jason, you're in the chat. You use just one eBay account, correct? Thank you. I'm going to keep going with the items. Hopefully that helps, Big V. Sorry. I wish I had better advice on that, but I personally just use one. So this is a very old shirt that I had up. It was Michael Kors. It was when I first started and thought that all mall brands would sell. That's not true. Very not true. But this sold. I got rid of it for $14. I had to price it down. Measure it, tag. And if you can get into these to the right price, like in the bins for 60, 70 cents, I guess flipping for 14 or 15 is not terrible. My price point, my general philosophy is if I can't sell it for $18-ish, I usually pass on it. That's just the model I use. This is a pretty awesome one. So this is Lacoste. So you do use multiple. Feel free in the chat if you can let us know why. I'm definitely curious to know what the advantage is for you and how that's worked out for you. Philip, yeah, blazers scared me for a long time. I probably did dress shirts and pants primarily for my first 6 months to a year, and it really wasn't until I started watching Ronnie on Hearts Picker and Rakin Profit that I learned how to do blazers, and now they're a big piece of my business. They're really, really high margin. So basically for niche, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I would think the same thing. Niche, if you have multiple niches that you're in and you have high inventory, then I guess that makes sense to have multiple accounts. Oh, and circumvent listing limitations. Yeah, that's a good point, Jason. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, eBay will limit the amount of items you can put up per month based on, well, I don't know if it's based on category, but it's definitely based on performance. So you as a seller and your feedback and the volume you put out, they will raise the caps as you go, but they do put those caps on there. Thanks for the info, guys. Appreciate it. So this is a Lacoste polo. I was pretty pumped. It is a size 11, which I believe is a 5XL. I have to look at the listing again. It's like a 4 or 5XL. I'd never found a Lacoste polo this big. It was pretty impressive. Sold it for $24. I took a best offer. I probably could have held out for more, but I like to, if I can move these in the mid 20s, I'm pretty happy about that. I just got 2 more items. This is really, guys, this is my sales from like Friday night into today. So, you know, I'm expecting hopefully some more sales leading up to the Super Bowl. I'm guessing during the Super Bowl we'll be pretty dead. But this is a tactical series, 511 tactical series. Hi, Lauren. Thanks for joining. And it's just a cotton polo, basic polo. I sold this for $19.99. I put them up for $25, and I had a 20% off sale running. And so this brand sells through for me really well. The cargo, like heavy twill pants, sell the best that I found. The polos, the button fronts do sell as well. If you find any concealed carry shirts, so they'll have like a pocket for, you know, if you're carrying a hand pistol or any of those things, those sell exceptionally well as well. And then this last one, Harley Davidson. This is a really plain one. The plain ones still sell, but if you can find any with like cool patterns and things, they sell really well. But you see the logo there. But this sold for $26, best offer. Just basic cotton button front. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying, I definitely appreciate the love and the like button. Definitely hit that for me. I'd appreciate it. Hoping to do at least one live show a week, especially if it's gaining traction. You guys like it, and you think it's a good format. I'll keep bringing it at least once a week. It's hard working full time to commit to much more than one a week, but I can definitely commit to one a week. 5.2 million. Wow, that's impressive, flip flops. Good deal. Excellent. Well, let me jump in. I want to just talk about really my week. I've learned an enormous amount for being off for a week. For those of you new or new to my channel, I do work full time in the corporate world, and I had this whole last week off in between jobs. So I got the opportunity. I decided to take it as like a trial run at being full time. As you know, when you're building your business on the side, your goal eventually is to be full time. And whatever capacity that looks like, I'm not sure, but I use this as a great opportunity to figure that out. And really, I had like 4 or 5 big takeaways. The first was that there just isn't enough time in the day ever. And I never noticed that because I felt like when I went to my 9 to 5, no matter what, I knocked that out for the day. And then whatever else I could get done, it was like, yeah, it was a crunch to get in the morning before I left or whatnot. But I was realistic with expectations. But when I was only holding myself accountable and I didn't have anything else that was just like scheduled in my day to be done, I don't know, I just felt like I never got enough done. And I look back at my week and I got a ton done, but I just felt like there was never enough time in the day. So I guess dealing with that mentally, I'll have to prepare for that when I get there. And those of you who are full-time in the chat, I know quite a few of you are. I'm just curious to see, I'm sure you have similar thoughts of feeling like you don't get enough done or you're not going to get enough momentum built up or things like that. But that was really my first big takeaway. The second takeaway was that at the same time, the ability to source items in this area specifically where I'm in Charlotte, being full-time, I feel like almost the sky's the limit. I mean, in 3 days probably of sourcing, so Lauren, the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like there's never enough time for sure. But with three days, I really focused on sourcing. It was Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday. And I say focus. Thursday was really just I hit 2 stores while I was out getting some. I did like my passport and a couple of errands done that I've been putting off. And doing, I'd say 3 days, and it was probably, I think it was 10 stores in the bins. I ended up sourcing over 225 items. So to source that volume in that short amount of time, I feel like I don't know. I was trying to like scheme it out and look math wise, and I feel like listing 800 to 1,000 items a month is definitely doable. I feel like I would want to get someone to help with pictures because I did have someone come help me with pictures actually yesterday and today. It was a buddy staying with me, and having him do pictures and me do the measurements, we prepped like 100 plus items in 4 or 5 hours. So I feel like that would be the one thing I would say is that if I was full time, I would at least want someone doing like that part of it so that I could source, and then spend a couple days prepping and then get, a couple hundred listings up. I think I would go less, like right now with my full-time job, I'm listing in the morning, 12 items every morning, slowly and chunking it. And I'm not sure that I would do that if I was full-time. I think I would probably batch my days even more as far as sourcing versus listing versus prepping. So that was kind of the other feedback I had. And that's if I just stay kind of like solopreneur, handling my eBay business by itself without scaling too much. How do you plan out your days? That's what I'm showing you. Yeah, that was what I kind of struggled with. Was I just was out on my own, and so I just was sourcing and sourcing and sourcing, and I had that rough idea in my head. Typically, how I do it now is I have every day completely scheduled out. So I wake up in the morning, I do my reading, I do my journaling, I jump right in, I start doing prepping. I prep 12 items, and I list 12 items. I go to the post office and I go to work. So having a 9 to 5, it's easy to plan out my day because I have to work it around my 9 to 5. And then the evenings I handle YouTube or social media or anything else that I'm focusing on or just relaxing. So now it's easy, but full time, like that's something I would really have to think about is what are my quote unquote work hours? Because right now my work hours are every hour. Like I don't relax a ton. I do things like I'm going to watch Super Bowl today, and I'll have an hour or two with Shannon every night. But when I go full time, it'll be really interesting to see how to kind of plan that and figure that out. But it was exciting to see the volume that we could source in a little bit of time. And definitely the bins have opened my eyes too. Jason and Karen, I have to thank you for that. We took a bins trip earlier this week on Tuesday, and I think I got 25 items for $31 in about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and a half we were there. So that would definitely be a staple of being full time. Luke is a machine. Yeah, robotic a little bit. I just like what I do, Jason. When you're passionate about what you do, it's easy to work hard at it. So that's what I'll leave it at that. The other thing was exciting was like I said, I listed 100 items already this week. So I'm way ahead for February. My listing goal for each month is 350 items. So I'm super far ahead, which is great starting my new job. I feel like I can relax, really learn what that new job's going to look like, network, and kind of get set up and get a feel for it so that I feel comfortable scaling back into eBay. So that was my other big goal this week. Philip, as far as my date for going full time, I don't really know, and it's one of those things where right now I still enjoy working my 9 to 5, and so I think really for me it's just whenever I stop enjoying that is when I'll go full time. To me, the longer I can do both, the better position I'll be in financially to just make that jump. But when I still like both aspects, and I'm a very social person, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a very social person. Interacting with people on a daily basis is something that I really like. So I work on the commercial side of finance, so I support salespeople all day. So it's kind of enjoyable to interact with them. But in any case, I think that's really my full-time plan. And just whenever I stop enjoying working 9 to 5, I'll make that plunge and really just go at it hard. But as long as I can still grow. If I ever get to the point where I feel like my eBay business is stagnant and I can't grow, then I think that becomes the tipping point of, all right, I need that extra time. So I appreciate those kind of words, guys. Tiffany said, I wish I could go through stores quick like that. I can stay in store for 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, there's a lot to look through. And honestly, guys, this is, I think, one of my tips. Hey, have fun at the party, Flip Flops. Thanks for stopping in. I think one of the big things for me is that I've slowly grown my brand knowledge over multiple years. This wasn't just something that I woke up 6 months ago, went hard at, and I know all these categories. And I've been reselling clothing for close to 3 years. And I started with shirts, and then I added pants, and then I added jeans, and then I added ties, and I added blazers and suits, and slowly I've added categories. So I go through every section of the men's clothing now. So coming out with 15, 20, 30 items in the store isn't unreasonable for me anymore, which means I have to hit less stores to get more items. I maximize my time, my trips, my drive time. So yeah, I think that's something to keep in mind, guys, as you're growing your business. Adding those categories after you've mastered, and I preface, master a category before you move on. Don't spread yourself so thin that you're not mastering a category. You set timers, yeah. I try to be in and out of the store in 45 minutes. If I'm in it for more than 45, I feel like I'm not focused, unless I'm just like piling the cart up like huge. Then then obviously it's just a home run day. I'm gonna stick there. I just want to make sure I cover my point. So the other big point that I took away was how important capital is. So like having money and liquid cash in this business. So I work full time and I keep my eBay business completely separated. And so that eBay money, my sales money goes back into inventory. It kind of snowballs back. I don't use it for a whole lot in my personal life. So it kind of snowballs and goes. But now I spent all week sourcing. Right? I sourced 225 items, and I spent quite a bit of cash to get it out there. And I'm just realizing how important that is. And when you look at going full time and planning to go full time, I think that's something that I don't hear a lot of resellers talk about necessarily, is setting yourself up so that you can take advantage of buying inventory. and buying the volume inventory you want to reach your goals. Now, using the bins, like Jason right now, I think you guys they're taking an awesome approach they're reducing their cost per goods so they can continue to buy more and increase their profit margin, which is awesome. But just in general, like having capital is a huge part of this business. And I think that's the other reason I'm going to really focus the rest of the year on building up that capital and that savings and reinvesting into my inventory to make sure that whenever I do go full time, if I want to spend a couple $1,000s in a week on inventory, I don't blink. It doesn't hurt me, and I can keep growing. Organized is not the word for Luke. You should see his spreadsheets. My spreadsheets are nothing compared to Jason's, so definitely should check out his spreadsheet. Mine is just more of a daily tracker to keep me on task, but I appreciate the compliment there. So those are really my 4 takeaways. I really enjoyed it. I love the freedom. For me, being able to mold my schedule around my day, like knocking out, going to the post office to get my passport in between sourcing. I had to pick up something for my kid to finish up my standing desk. I hit it all in a loop. It was super efficient with my time. Like that to me is awesome. You know, having basketball in the evening and just working around that. What is this thing called? Spreadsheets? But that freedom is pretty cool. And I think that's what drives everyone towards wanting to be full-time or wanting to be a reseller, is that freedom is just enormous. But I think from my week, I would caution people to make sure you're ready for it, right? Ready for all the mental implications, the capital, the cash flow, all the things that go with it. When you decide to go full-time, just have those systems in place, have experience with it so that you can handle it mentally. And it's really opened my eyes, and I'm going to focus these next, 9 months to 2 years, whatever it is that I'm looking at, on preparing myself for whenever that switch is so that I'm ready to tackle it. But to you guys, I thought it'd be cool to share. You don't always get an opportunity to just go at something that you love for a week and then go back to work, your stability. So I thought it was pretty neat. I also have some questions written down. I've been getting a lot of the same questions. I think that this video, I'm going to use this as the opportunity to answer a lot of viewer questions, because I'm trying to keep up with all you guys on the videos. I love the comments. They're super motivational to me, and even the questions. But I don't want to miss any of them, and I'm going to try to keep answering them on the videos. But this is also a good chance for me to kind of, as a catch-all, grab the big ones and the overarching ones that are asked frequently. So the first one that's been asked a lot lately is, do I wash clothes before I sell them? And the answer is no. I don't wash any of them. The only time I wash them is if there's a flaw that I knew about or that I missed and I wanted to try and get it out, I'll wash it. That's about it. Or if I find a super high-end blazer suit that I know it's going to fetch $400, $500, $600, I might dry clean it. I mean, that would be the only time that I would think about it, if it had like a little smell to it or something I wanted to get out. So that's that one. The other question, well, there's a couple. So do I go to my storage unit daily? So yes, I go to my storage unit every single day. I promise 1 day turnaround, 1 business day turnaround, which I urge all of you to do if you can. It helps you rank higher in the eBay search engine. I also do 30-day returns, which is the other thing. And I had someone point out I have a restocking fee in my description, which I actually don't enforce. And what happened was I was using the same template for so long after I stopped using that early on, and I forgot to take it out. So a large chunk of my listings have it in it still. I've been currently trying to remove it from the future ones, but the amount of work it would take to go back and remove it just isn't worth it. And most people don't even notice it because no one reads through a full description anymore on eBay. So yeah, that kind of answer those at the same time. But I do go to my storage unit every day so I can offer that 1 business day turnaround. Do I offer free shipping? Was another question. I definitely offer free shipping. Jason and I have debated this back and forth. I think for his jeans-based, primarily commodity business, it makes sense for him to have the charge shipping, and for a lot of people they do, and it works great for them. For me personally, it's just easier for me. It's less things to worry about, and especially as a part-time reseller, just seeing the fast and free logo for me helps. For me, I'm a visual person, and knowing that the buyer seeing that is encouraging. So I stick with free shipping for everything, except for my ties, which sounds really funny because you'd think, well, your ties are lightweight, why don't you offer free shipping? What I do for those is I use my auctions, like my free auctions I get my source subscription. I put them for $9.99 for all my basic ties, and then I put $2 shipping. And that just ensures that the first bid, I'm going to get the $12 I want for the tie minimum. So I pay $2 for a tie, and I figure if I can get 12, it ships for about $260-ish. That's a good profit margin for a tie for me. So that's the only exceptions. I will offer shipping on those for $2, like a flat fee. Do you use best offer? That was another one that's asked frequently. I use best offer for everything, and I don't have a real scientific reason for it, other than I like to price my items a little higher than they might go for. and will allow negotiation. And it also allows me to capitalize if someone just sees it, wants it, and they buy it for more than I would think, then I capitalize there. And then the second reason for that is because I'm part-time, I love the motivation of getting offers all day. So like if I have a slow sales day, but I have 6 or 8 offers up the day, I still feel like my listings are being seen, my business is moving forward, it's encouraging. And especially early on, I would encourage everyone to use Best Offer just because it allows you to sell things, build feedback, negotiate. It just, I don't know, I think it builds a lot of positive momentum, gets you excited about your business, which being excited and passionate is huge if you're going to be productive. So those are the reasons I use Best Offer. And what the last one was, when do you get rid of old inventory? This one was asked quite a bit. And this really branches into business philosophy and how you run your business. So I only get rid of what I would call old inventory if I think it's a bad buy. So if I think I bought something that was a mistake, it's not going to sell, I thought it would, but it's not, I'll auction it off and I'll put it down, you know, for basically my cost plus shipping, just to try and hedge a little bit and get some of that back. But as far as inventory goes, I'm more of a long tail seller. So if I buy a blazer for $5 that I think will sell for 50, and I know it will sell for 50, I'm waiting for the right person to come along that needs that size, that color, that pattern, that material, that brand, all those specific things. It might take a year for that person to come along and find it for that price. I'm okay sitting on it for a year, right? Or 2 years. And I've sold things I've had for 18 months, 20 months for the price I thought I'd get. And when you think about it, a lot of you are like, whoa, why would you do that? But even with a blazer, it's $1.20 to have it up for the entire year. That's what it costs me, 10 cents per month. So if I buy it for $5 and I had $1 worth of listing on it, so now it costs me $6.20. It ships for what, $5.95 with my new flat rate, and it still sells for $50 a year later. I'm making a great margin. And people will say I'm not in the storage business, which I totally agree. Some people's business models, they need to move it quick because they don't have the storage. For me, I'm a part-time seller. I have a storage unit. It's all organized in there. It doesn't matter if it sits for a year for me. So that's really my opinion on cycling out old inventory. And Jason, I'm glad you agree. I mean, Jason's still waiting. Have you sold the fabled first pair of jeans you listed yet, Jason? I know you've been waiting on that one. But to me, it's like I'm trying to build inventory, which creates scale and lets my business grow. So if I find 100 items that sell for $50, I don't care if one sells per month for the next 3 years. So it hasn't sold. Oh man, I might just have to look it up and try to buy it just to help you out there. need to get it gone. Need to. Are you going to frame when it sells? Are you going to print your label and frame it as your first inventory ever listed? I wish I had kept track of that. I'm not sure what the first item I sold was. It was a long time ago. I'm glad. Yeah, Lauren, you agree? So that's just my personal philosophy. I don't know cheating. fair enough, Graham. That's my philosophy. I don't think there's a wrong way. I think that business models, and I'm not sure what you guys think, but business models can vary depending on what you're trying to get out of your business. Are you trying to scale? Are you trying to grow? But refunding the person's price is a gift, though. I like that. That's cool. That'd be really neat. In that case, I'll definitely buy them. I mean, I'm pre-rolling that buy. But I feel like there's not necessarily a wrong way. I just feel like there's a way that fits everyone's business. And some people have asked me what you would do if you're just starting out, and I would almost encourage a fast flip type approach as you're just starting to build your eBay business. Like I would price everything 25 to 30% below market value just to build feedback and build capital early on, and then I would shift towards the long tail as I grew. See you, Lauren. Thanks for stopping in. Hi, Chicago Crown Hustler. Appreciate you stopping in. But yeah, as far as like the business model goes, I think that's what I would say is you're starting out, you're trying to build feedback in the eBay community. You're trying to kind of get used to the systems and how to build your processes out. I think pricing things lower than the market to try and move it and get that experience, as long as you're making a small profit, has a much bigger benefit long-term view. And then you can flip that, 3 months in, then you can start pricing things up and getting them for that long tail approach. Like that's how I would do it if I was stepping in and trying to build as I went. But yeah, that's kind of my analysis for the week. I really enjoyed being full-time. Do you do good to canceled or 30? Oh, I hadn't said. That's a great question. Better Barbie. I do 30 days, and the reason I do 30 days is because I like to know. I'll occasionally look at like the viewings on listings. It gives me a chance when they come off to look to see if there's any mistakes I might have made. I'll just scan through the titles, make sure there's no typos or something like that. It also allows me to lower the price of things that I believe are bad buys, so when there's a chance to get rid of inventory or to send something to auction. So for me, it's really just a mental check of that 30 days to refresh it. I have seen some things where people say that if you complete a sell similar, a completely new listing, that it ranks you higher. I'm not really sure about that. I don't know the eBay algorithm that well. I just know that I just hit relist and mass relist them all, and I don't have any issues. Out of 50 sales, Matt says, out of 50 sales, how many returns do you get? So I've held really steady for the last 2 years at about 3% returns. So on 50, well, that's an item and a half at 50 items. So 3 items for 100, every 100 sales. January was awesome. I only had 2 returns total on like 200 plus sales. And then I got hit yesterday with like 5 straight returns, which I'm sure are residual from sales from January. So, but long term, I see pretty much about 3%, which I think is probably normal. Jason, you're right around there as well, right? I think 3%. But I think that's a pretty standard amount you can expect. And maybe early on a little more, but I doubt it. I mean, I think with clothing, a lot of times, just the process of having to return it, people just are too lazy to do it, so you don't see them as often. 4%, okay, yeah. So I would say anywhere from 2 to, we'll say 2 to 5 with a range is probably pretty acceptable for clothing. Any other questions before I go? I'm going to try to keep these every weekend to a half hour, just to be mindful of people's time, especially on a Sunday, and mindful of my time. I'm pretty excited about Super Bowl, and I want to get up a ton of listings before the Super Bowl. But just wanted to test out this whole live video thing, make sure my audio works, and make sure that I could pull this off each week. If you found the video helpful, definitely hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. And if you have questions throughout the week, always send them to me if you want me to cover on the weekend, or you can comment on the videos. But I'll plan to go over what I sold on every weekend and then talk about some questions. That's going to be the general format. And I really enjoy this one. I like a back and forth dialogue. It's just more my personality anyways. So this will be the norm moving forward. How do you keep moths out of wool sweaters in storage unit? So I use, I use plastic, and this isn't a blazer, but I do the same thing. So I do plastic, they're sealed, and then it's in a bin that's sealed. And I don't have any problems. I'm in North Carolina, and so you said you're in Eastern North Carolina. I haven't had any issues. I've been through every season so far, and I've had blazers. I actually have blazers in the sealed bins that aren't in plastic, and I haven't had any issues. Thank you, Better Barbie. And in the Super Bowl, regrettably, I have the Patriots, but I want Atlanta to win. That's how I feel about it. I feel like Tom Brady is way too angry of a man to lose this game, but I hope that he does, especially as a Giants fan. And thank you, Corinne. I appreciate it. Any other last-minute questions before I go? All right. Thanks, guys. I will we'll tune in this next week. I'll have another live show next Sunday. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and good luck with your week this week.